I know the DJ.
Do you?
Welcome to episode 21 of But I Know the DJ, a podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, and pop culture through the unfiltered opinions of host Snacks, a.k.a. Janet Snacks, is powered by Dope Entertainment and our sponsor, Anchor. As always, I'd like to shout out our Black-owned business of the week. The local luxury brand serves the purpose of changing the narrative of Boston that is shown in the media. While film and media tend to give an outdated narrative to one area of the city, Local Luxury looks to shed light on the overlooked neighborhoods with positivity and a quote-unquote luxury twist. The goal is to branch out into many of America's underappreciated neighborhoods and remind them that their neighborhood is luxury regardless of the media's depiction. Reach them at Our Local Luxury on Instagram and purchase at www.ourlocalluxury.com. Use discount code I Know the DJ for 15% off. Check them out. And now I'd like to introduce our guest for this episode, formerly known as DJ Leduc, has been a staple in the Boston nightlife community for over 15 years. Her ability to read any room with bold, open format sets and near flawless mixing have earned her not one, but two Boston Music Awards for DJ of the Year, making her the first and only woman-identified DJ to win thus far. She can be seen playing all over Boston at her current residencies and beyond. She is also Lord Hobo Brewing Company's official DJ. Give it up for DJ Leduc in the building.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
It was fun to have you read the words that I wrote back to me.
Honest, I'm pretty known for like always jacking up the intros.
Oh, that's great.
I
I was like, wow, that's fun.
I mean, no, honestly, this is actually probably one of my favorite bios. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot to boast about here. 15 years in the game alone, like a lot of, obviously we know a lot of people can't even make 5 years, 10 years, let alone 15.
Yeah.
What was your start like?
I was probably like 18 or 19 years old when I started to play out a little bit more. I was trying to find the places that won't check my ID, which I did. I think one of my first residencies was Felt in Boston, which is downtown Crossing. It's like, I think Suffolk actually owns that building now. I don't even
Probably makes sense.
I
I feel like the colleges down there own.
Oh, they took over.
Every-
There's nothing.
like
There's no
Emerson-
clubs left.
like
Gypsy
Emerson,
Bar,
yeah,
like
yeah.
all or Whiskey Saigon, whatever the hell.
Yeah, exactly.
That was gone.
Yeah, Emerson.
Emerson and Suffolk
whatever.
just
yeah,
just
exactly.
got it all.
Go Rams.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's your alumni.
Yeah.
Is that what they're using your money for?
Pretty much.
Stop giving it to them.
Shout out Suffolk University. Go Rams.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my first one. It was I think I was hooking up my Serato box to a rotary mixer, and
Jesus Christ.
it was super old school and crusty, and that club was absolutely insane. Like, I can't believe it was open for as long as it was, just the way that it was operated. But yeah, I just I kind of like slowly creeped into those types of places, and then I moved to Miami for 3 years.
Oh shit.
And I wasn't here, and I did a bunch of stuff down there, and then just decided around like 2009, 2010 to come back to Boston. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I just want to pursue DJing full time. This is what I want to do. I started DJing when I was 13, and started playing out when I was 18 or 19, and then went away for a little bit, then came back and just was like, dive straight in. I met Frank White.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen to my demo. I don't even know what that sounded like back then. But yeah, he was like, oh, come open for me at Middlesex, and we'll see what you can do. And I played for him for a couple hours, and we've been friends ever since. And he also introduced me to a lot of other cool people, and then sort of just snowballed. You know how it happens? Like, you find like the people that are kind of like, oh, I want to play with you, or you kind of sound like what I want to do, and you link with them, and it's like kind of like minded, and you get passed around, and everybody's very gracious and cool here. And yeah, that's kind of how I got started. I guess it took me a long time to really like figure out what I wanted to do with this, and then once I did, it was all down. Interval training. Up, down.
You said something important though that I think is very different in like in terms of the DJ scene now, where like you were like, I started playing at 13, wanting to play at clubs at 18, 19.
Yeah.
5-6 years in between where I'm assuming it's polishing and just kind of bedroom DJing,
a lot of
obviously.
polishing. It was nothing but polishing. I mean, I couldn't put. I remember like when I was 13 years old and like I was so excited to have turntables and I've saved up all my money and my mom was like, fuck you, I'm not buying these for you. You're gonna have to figure out a way. Like, did that, set them up, put on my little records that I had at the time, and I was just like, now what?
No,
it took me so long
to get there.
Yeah, and not only that, I had like the bunk first like setup kit that was like belt driven turntables and like the shittiest 2-channel mixer you've ever seen in your life, and it was so difficult and challenging and made me angry. But I think that was an important experience as a DJ. You have to experience that frustration and anger, which you will probably never stop experiencing in your career because it's just constant.
Yeah.
But in a good way, it like helps shape you. But yeah, I think like those beginning days were great because it gave me the opportunity to be terrible,
right,
and learn and like slowly figure it out. And then I remember this DJ that was like a resident at Rise, and he was also a captain of one of the VHC boats. I could not tell you his name right now. But he was talking to me about DJing, and he was like, he said this one thing about beat matching that made it make so much sense to me. And it was, I'm very visual, but like the way that he said it just made it click. And I was like, oh my God, that's okay, I gotta go home right now. And he's like, nope, my house is right around the corner. I got a couple decks, let's go. And I tried it, and I was like, oh my God. And I was probably like 18 years old when I was like, I was right there. I was like right almost in the pocket, but I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And then he said something and made it make sense. And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I was able to like really start honing some skills, and then incorporated Serato once that became a thing, which was...
Yeah, that's what was going to be my next question. Where in that process did Serato come in?
So I started DJing and learning how to DJ in like 98, 99. I didn't get Serato until 2005, 2006.
Yeah, that's about when it came out.
Yeah, and I used it in absolute mode for like years. And like I didn't know there was other modes. Like, and I feel like most like DJs who came up on like vinyl and CD
I was gonna say that
probably had that confusion too, because I remember Knife and like Paul Foley also always used absolute mode, and jokingly so for a long time, because
I think Kid Capri still does.
Yeah, it's the closest
the most realist.
Yeah, and I get it. Like if that's like, and then I remember Frank saw me using absolute, and he was like, "What are you doing? Like switch it to relative. Like look what this does." He like showed me real quick. But it's cool how like you pick up little things here and there from people who are now like people I consider my mentors and really good friends. But you pick up things here and there that like literally change your life. Because like, what if I just kept using absolute mode? What if I'm sitting here 15 years later being like, oh yeah, absolute mode, and like
fossilized,
literally, I'm just like frozen in time, Encino man.
Yeah, and so you hopping in at 18 now, Serato is like. Still, I feel like at that point it was still kind of a new.
It was very new.
You know what I mean?
People were skeptical.
What is the state of Boston nightlife at that time?
I honestly don't. I did not think about nightlife in the global way that I think about it now. I was very young. Community was not a thing. I was like, I wanna play gigs. I wanna play records. I'm focused. I'm hungry. So I don't know. I do know that when I started going to clubs, I was 16. I had a fake ID. I wanted to go to Avalon and go to all the Lansdowne Street. Lansdowne was popping.
Yeah.
Back in the day, holy shit. Like, you look at Lansdowne now, what it is now, and like, shout out to House of Blues. I'm a resident there, and all the places that used to be there were great. But there was a time when there was like 6 or 7 clubs.
Yeah.
Every weekend, Thursday through Sunday, sometimes more than that, packed.
Yeah.
You'd have the sports team getting out and that crowd, and then you'd have it was just like it was always like crazy busy and just a different kind of energy. And it was sad to see some of those clubs come and go. But I do remember nightlife being, I feel like, more energized. Even up until like 2011, 2012, I feel like there was, with the decline of the DIY scene and all the underground stuff that got like clipped, and like people stopped throwing those parties, and in the closings of a ton of clubs, the landscape and the energy has sort of shifted a little bit. So you don't really see what you used to see anymore. But I know that I definitely felt like there was a lot more going on, but I was so focused on like, I want to get my foot in the door here, there, and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have told you, like, if it was, like, good or bad. I just know that when I was, like, 18, 19, 20, I was, like, wherever's going to let me play. Like, who, I don't care. Felt, Vanalia, I don't even remember the names of some of these places that I used to play, but it was really just, like, get me anywhere. I'm down to play anywhere. But I think for sure, when you look at even just 10 years ago, there was a huge shift. Like, things are closing and, like, more chain stuff is opening up in place of them. Like, we were just talking about how Felt is owned by a college now. It's it couldn't be in the more opposite direction. Yeah. And, like, where is Boston Nightlife going with all these places? Even if they were just turned into other clubs, like, they're just completely closing down. Yeah. Like,
more so now with COVID. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm just like, please, like, all the places that we play, like, please, no more. Like, it seems to be evening out, hopefully, but it was scary there for a minute. Like, I never really was the biggest fan of Wonder Bar, but I did play a lot of gigs.
Wonder Bar, our producer Ado threw so many parties at Wonder Bar. He was the Wonder Bar king, like, right before COVID.
Back in the day, that place was it. Yeah, and like, I mean, like, I had, like, my issues with that place, but it was, like, so related to just, like, management and, like, the gear situations a lot of the times. But, like, but that was still, like, a place that was important.
A lot of people started there.
Yeah, and, like Wonder Bar. What was the other place in Alston that, like, when Harper's Ferry became Bright Music Hall, that was, like, a huge shift, like, because the vibe was totally different. You turned it into this, like, corporate venue. Even when when Avalon became House of Blues, like, the shift, like, unbelievable. Like, I still walk in that bathroom and get, like, flashbacks, like, of whatever I was on at the time. Like, it's wild, but it's so interesting to see how these places have either just changed completely or how they're shutting down, and how now with COVID, how much more rapidly they're shutting down and what's going to happen. Yeah.
I go in these crazy rants where, like, because obviously we're in this industry, right? We understand, and not only are, we can't play or we're losing money, but, like, kind of to your point, we have relationships with management or relationship with bartender. Like, it's bigger than that. To your point, as you get older, you realize the community that's around it, right?
And how important it is.
So, like, there's certain managers or, like, venue owners where I'm like, yo, I feel for them. Like, I'm ranting because of them. You know what I'm saying? And then even beyond that, it's like, okay, we can't play at these places. Oh, but everyone thinks that all these places are going to be back and we can just play in them. Some of them won't be. Wonder Bar already went down. Like these places that, whether we can say we relied on or we love playing in them or whatever, part of our schedule, whatever, that we don't know if they're going to be there. And then and we obviously know Boston is a crazy busy DJ market. So many DJs.
Yeah, and good DJs too.
Yeah, and if anything, I mean, we can argue that maybe there's going to be fewer or more coming out of COVID. I think some people might have hung it up. Some people might have picked it up.
Yeah.
But I think the venues are probably fewer, and then they're probably not as open to, like, blow the door hinges off. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like, I think it's going to be kind of slow to start. And, like, people are going to be like, oh, like, maybe we'll just stick with the mix for now and, like, just make sure we can at least, like, just get people in the door and, like, get the bar running before we start.
Like, once it happens, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to lose my mind completely. I already have, so I'm just ready to just come off the hinges completely.
Yeah.
Like, I have fantasies about, like, what my first night back in, like,
that's so true.
I'm like,
yeah, that's so real.
What am I going to play? Like, we haven't even heard, like, Savage or WAP in the club yet. Like, people might not survive. Exactly. Like, I don't know what that's going to be like. Exactly. We're talking about buildings closed. They might burn to the ground after this shit. Like, we don't know. Bitches have been locked up in their rooms. Clothes have not been worn. There are tags unpopped. There is going to be a problem when we all go back to the clubs. But I can't wait for that problem.
Yeah, I know. I remember in the beginning, like, I remember when, like, in, like, July, August, when things were kind of opening, like, restaurants were kind of holding it down.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a good time.
And I remember, like, I was like, everyone's gonna be fucking, like, and at that point it was like 3 months where, like, we were, like, really locked down, and I was like, yo, like, imagine 3 months, like, you don't see fucking anybody, and then you're at a club, now you're surrounded by people, like, the first person you see, like, you're fucking them. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be. I've heard, like, crazy stories of quarantine online dating, which sounds
horrible,
horrendous, and scary, more so than it is in general. I've never really partaken in the online dating thing because it scares me. And bitches are fraudulent. I'm sorry. As a woman, I'm going to say it. The filter thing is really confusing. Not only that, now you have masks a lot happens between here, your nose, and your chin. A lot.
I see girls
I
with
love
some
all
busted
of you,
teeth.
but a lot
You know what I mean?
happens. It's fine, like whatever it is. But it's like you know, like I'm between the mask and the filtering.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I just want to meet somebody in real life. But like I've heard some stories. I'm like, aren't you afraid? Like, do you know where that person's been? Do you like share? Do you get COVID tests before you hook up? Like, what's happening? I don't get it. It's just everything is so scary. I'm just like, I'll stay home. This is the first place I've gone in a while.
Welcome.
Yeah,
They've implemented like the FaceTime dating too, where it's like now it's like an option. Like and I'm not a big FaceTime guy. Period.
I almost just like spit everything out.
I'm not a big FaceTime guy. Period. Like if I pick up like your unsolicited FaceTime, like you're either family or like close
I would never do a
close
date.
friend.
I'm already like these Zoom interviews.
Yeah.
No, I'm not having a job interview on a FaceTime. Could not be more awkward.
Yeah.
I just like I don't even understand that whole like it just seems so like forced. It works for some people, like no judgments. I'm not not judging anyone. I personally
it's kind of wild.
It just scares me a little bit.
A little wild.
People scare me.
Yeah, I know one time a girl like mentioned it to me. Like we were texting her or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, like what if we have our like ha quarantine like FaceTime day?" And I'm like, "That's not funny." I'm like, because it's not fucking happening.
A quarantine FaceTime. I can't even believe the words that come out of our mouths.
Yeah, I
can't wait till we don't
time.
have to talk about
different
this.
time. It's just
like
in the textbooks.
Fast forward. Like I want to fast forward through this bullshit because I don't ever want to say these words again unless we're talking about, hey, remember when that was happening?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean now I can't keep up with the last week of news, but I think
haven't watched
things. Because the initial headline was Massachusetts, like Baker let Massachusetts restaurants, bars, lounges.
Is he I haven't. Maybe we should fact check that because I swear to God, it's changed like every other day.
Yeah,
he's also done the industry dirty. I'll say that to everybody who's listening. Governor Baker can go fuck himself because he has not taken care of the industry
at all.
I'm sick of seeing my friends have COVID scares because it's absolutely insane. And he has not done, I think, enough like timely fashion to help anyone that's in this industry. But he wants everyone to stay open, but he doesn't want to give them the vaccine.
Yeah, it's like super inconsistent, and there's so many things that like make no sense. I mean, the whole like
it just sounds like it's delaying everything. Honestly,
it's just like why? Like I really wonder what happens in those meetings.
Yeah, what's the difference between? I don't know. It just seems weird that they want everything to open up, but they're not considering that there are people here that we have to sort of consider frontline workers at that point because they're coming face to face with people and having to touch things and touch people, and there's no 100% safe way to do any of this. And like all the places that have been like low key having parties, I'm not gonna say what, but like that's also kind of like fucked up too. Like I want to go back to work, but I don't want to make it so that it's just going to be a longer, drawn out situation. Like, just chill the fuck out for a minute. Let's get this all in order, and then let's get back to it. Like,
do you think, because what I was thinking of was, like, January 2nd to, like, March 3rd, like, shut it down. Like, shut everything, like,
why not?
Lights out. If that meant we had a summer.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't care.
Because it's cold already.
I'm not going
snowing.
out anyway.
Yeah.
I'm like, anytime in the winter, if I'm out, I'm being paid to do so. Like, I'm at a gig. I go out Thursday through Saturday, sometimes a Sunday if I have a brunch. And that's my going out in the winter. I'm not leaving my house. Like, I have Netflix. I have everything I need at home.
But that was the hard thing about the beginning of COVID was, like, to get humans to, like, look at 95-degree weather, sunny, and tell them to stay home. I know, yeah. But then you get the snow. It's it was a fucking tornado today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then it becomes a little bit easier. People are more likely.
People are like chilling out. And like, more places became like available for takeout. So at least there's that. Like, people are able to like do something during this. But it just seemed all very confusing to me to have these weird rules. But like, just shut it down then. In that case, like I mean, like, the government should be ready to support these businesses.
Not a single dollar given.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
wild.
Then let's shut it down for a few months. I think that would have been
I think we would have
great
been
idea.
Yeah, we would have been a little bit further ahead.
January, February, March, all the dirt.
Yeah, the dirty ass months. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to do shit anyway.
Yeah.
Just like fund these places so it doesn't.
Exactly. So they can just hold themselves. Just going to the facts real quick. We have, so this is as of March 2nd. Only 6 people allowed per table. At a 90-minute time limit is in place.
25% capacity in most places.
I think
it's 25%, and then and they are open later now, so they're open till midnight instead of 9:30 or whatever.
So here we have, this is Boston.cbs local. Gyms and offices can expand to 50%. Concert halls, theaters, and indoor recreational facilities like roller rinks, Jesus, and laser tag can reopen. Who's going to roller rinks? Someone, who was it? I think it was Jesus and Mero talking about how like not cool bowling is now. Like if like you voluntarily go bowling and like you're sticking your hands in like this fucking ball that everyone touches, and, like the shoes and like you know what I mean? It's like is bowling
I won't wear those shoes.
Might be canceled. I don't know.
They can't make me wear those shoes. They're like, you have to. I'm like, honestly, try to make me. What do
you?
Yeah. I want to know what you're gonna do if I don't wear these shoes right now, sir.
Larger venues are capped at 500 people, excluding employees.
But wait, so larger venues. So are we talking like?
I would say like House of Blues,
performance venues. So they're.
Yeah, because they said concert halls.
So 500 people excluding staff, 500 people in the House of Blues.
Pretty lame party, I guess. But it's
it's whatever. If something can start happening there. I know like the staff over there is like just they had to lay off so many people. It's so sad. But I can't the idea of having 500 people inside House of Blues is like almost like I don't even want to do it. Like it's pretty bleak. Yeah,
it is. And it's just like too much space. Like, and that's what I mean, like at that point,
they probably won't even open.
Some venue would like, let alone like, hire the DJ, like make sure like, or it's just like, do we just like let people like be out for once and like have drinks and just like have some like ambient whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean they also have foundation room, and I guess like it's just gonna be really interesting to see how this plays out. Like this part especially. I mean, obviously nothing has been happening, so it's not super interesting right now. But now that vaccinations are coming out, and there's talks of things like maybe opening up, but then they're also like, but also you can't do this. You can do this, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like we'll go forward a step, but then go back 2 steps. It's almost like just why are we even doing this?
The best was you can't sit down at a restaurant unless you eat food.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't just get like a beer.
Yeah.
Like I had to get some like fries with it or something.
And you think about that. It's like, so my night out is going to cost me like
when it doesn't have to
10, 20 times more than what it usually would. I'm not eating. I don't want to eat at every place. I'm going to get fat and fucking go broke just trying to like go out for a couple drinks. And you can't really bar hop in that situation. Like what if you want to go? You can't do that.
Gotta stick to it.
It's really
Finish
annoying.
Finish the fries.
Get yourself a pretzel.
Yeah, get the money's worth.
Get your appetizer and pretend like it's like all 6 of you are eating like one pretzel.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Like what is the point of this?
So stupid.
It makes you not want to go out, which is I'm like, was that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like make it so whack that it's like I might as well just stay home.
Which honestly, bravo, because I fucking worked.
yeah. But then there was like. I remember during the holidays where it was like, you can't have more than 10 people just like in your crib or like at your apartment or whatever. And it's like at that point, it's like, cause there was a point where I was like, okay, like fuck going out to the restaurants and stuff. Like I stopped after my birthday. I like didn't go out to eat ever. Cause I was like, I can just have people over that I trust and pizza rolls and keep it pushing and stuff. And then there was like, like no more than X amount of people. And I'm like, like, let me do something. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm like not trying to have 10 people in my house anyway. That's like way too many people for me.
But I guess for the holidays though, like I remember that
family
was a big
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
Which I mean, even that I was like, all right, I'm okay with this. We had a very chill holiday. I was like, nothing.
You're from Mass?
Yeah, I grew up in Medford.
Oh, word. Yeah. Oh.
And then now I live in exotic East Boston.
Yes and no at this point. With that Miami run that you had, what was that about?
My mom lived down there. She still lives down there. And I had come back from living in New York too at that point and was back here for about 1.5 years. And I was just like, I want to be warm for a little while. So screw it. I'm going to go. So it was really just like, I just decided to do that and try it out.
And when you were playing down there too? Or?
Yeah, I played a little bit. I was actually way more involved with art than I was with music. I did like a little bit of DJing while I was down there. I made some friends that I still know now that are DJs. But the art scene was so vibrant that it was hard not to be involved with it.
Yep.
A lot of graffiti, a lot of street art.
Wynwood area?
Yeah, well, this was 2006-ish, so this was like when Art Basel was still a thing, but it wasn't like what it is today.
Right.
I feel like I'm dating myself so much with these conversations, but yeah. Wynwood was just downtown. It was, or like the design district is what they called it back then. And it was a lot less going on, but a lot more like, there was a ton of art studios. They'd just like throw bars out on the street and have parties. So it's like still kind of like the same thing, but I'd never seen such a, like, that kind of art community before. Like it's like their nightlife and art scene were like intertwined.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I liked the sounds that I heard down there were very different. Like, at the time, like dubstep was like kind of resurging in Miami, and I never really loved it, but I liked seeing it trend, and like it sort of followed me back up north as I started seeing like more dubstep parties up here. But I just saw like a lot of different types of sounds in Miami, a whole other type of style, like the food, everything was so different than up here. But I still missed it. I felt like I was like out of touch with like the mainland or something like that. Like I was disconnected from everything that was going on, like the heart of nightlife, like not being close to New York or in Boston, like where I feel like more stuff is happening. It's just like it's its own world, I guess that's the way to put it. But yeah, I ended up going down there. I had planned to stay there for like a year or two. I ended up there for about 3 years, and was definitely ready to come home at the end of that. But it was definitely like way more of a time of an artsy time for me. I just like got back into like drawing and painting and just kind of exploring that whole scene and how involved that was with nightlife. I'd never seen anything like that before. Like I felt like up here it was like very sort of like two-dimensional. It was great. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But then you went down there and it was the first time I ever saw like different things being incorporated into parties. Like there's a live artist here. Like I'd never seen that before. Yeah. Like we never had I'd never seen anything like that up here. And I just kept on seeing cool stuff like that. And like fashion being brought in and like having like street vendor, like t-shirt vendors and like artists that have merch, like just out and like part of the party. And it's like part of the event. And like these hosts are like part of the party. And then I started seeing more of that in New York too. Like where like the DJ wasn't even really the focus. It was like the rest of the stuff going on at the party. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And but then I just wanted to be back here. It's like I think I love having one season all the time, but you miss it. Yeah. You miss being like the Northeast. I think has like a grit to it. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're from here. Absolutely. It's hard to go other places. I lived in California too for a while, and like I was just like, this is I can't find my people out here, so I don't know. It's
everyone's too clean.
It's like a little yeah. Like I feel like everybody's lying to me. Like in Miami too, I was like, you lying to me? I think you're lying to me. You're not being real with me right now. Fraudulent.
I think that's gonna be the word that I'm taking away from this episode. Fraudulent. Calling everybody fraudulent.
Yeah, fraudulent. I can't have it in my life.
I love it. I think I think especially people from Boston or from Massachusetts, from the Northeast, have this like thing that like, oh, like nothing good comes out of it, or we're not able to have our own identity necessarily. But you go to somewhere like Miami, you're explaining like these are very distinct things that you've never seen before. That is now to your memory like this was Miami. Yeah. Even now, however many years, at least 10 years after the fact, and I still think Boston and Massachusetts still doesn't have their own identity. Why do you think, being in both places, why do you think that is? Where's the disparity?
I think that Boston tries to be things that it's not. Like it has it's well intended, but she tries to be too much. She's forcing it quite often, most of the time, I feel like. But I think that instead of just trying to like look at like where we are, the types of people that live in this city, which is a lot of different types of people. Yep. It's like, again, I still think that the Boston nightlife landscape is not diverse and not progressive. And I think a lot of that has to do with people thinking they can see something done a certain way in New York or done in California or done somewhere, anywhere, and they want to do that here. But that might not work here. And I don't know how to like expand on that any further, like any more specifically, but that's kind of what I've seen. And I'm just like, why don't we just make things that are specific for our market? Like, this is a transient city. You have people coming and going all the time. The benefits of that is a lot of these people make it so that the age range, it's just like you just have the same type of people here all the time. Yeah. And that's actually like, that's beneficial in a lot of ways. Yep. In a lot of ways it can work against you. Right. But if you understand the way, like the ebbs and flows of Boston and what happens here every year and how September and June are big months and like very active months for us. And it's very different here than it is in other cities. It's harder here to do like what you can do in any other city at any time. Like it's easy. It's not easy, but it is much easier to, I think, throw events and have get spaces and do creative things in a city like New York. Whereas like there are not as many spaces available here, and the ones that are probably won't let you have as much freedom. Everything is sort of very buttoned up here. Yeah. And we have a very deserved reputation of that type of energy. But yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to see people push the limits, but also keep in mind of where you are. And I think I've seen a lot of really cool stuff happening, and it's like the younger generation coming through is like breathing a little bit of much needed life into this. And I think people are sort of becoming a little bit more aware of how much of a lack of diversity there is, and like how outright racist and sexist and homophobic this city can be, and the people that are holding the pens and the people in power positions are the ones that are upholding this system. Yeah. So the best way to affect anything like that is from the bottom up. So like all like I was saying about the DIY parties and like the smaller scenes and the bar scenes, you can find a lot more like creative, diverse things happening, and people sort of like trying new things and pushing the limits and incorporating all kinds of different things that kind of give different layers to the project or the event that they're doing. And I mean, when a place like the Grand opened up and Memoir, I was almost excited, but then I remembered, why would I get excited about something like that? It's not going to affect me or I mean my life. And now we're getting back around to what we wanted to talk about, which is like the bar scene versus the club scene. And it's like, if we could take some of the things that the smaller parties and like the bar rooms and the small like black room like the black box clubs like they're doing and how there's more of a focus on just like the talent they're bringing through and the content they're providing and like the actual substance of the night. They're thinking about that more than just like, let's throw this headlining DJ on here. We're going to get Steve Aoki to open up the club again, and fucking Shaq's going to come through. And it's so predictable. Yeah. Like, I would love to just have somebody shock me and do something any different. Because I think that it all needs to exist in order to have Boston be a destination for nightlife. Absolutely. We have to have something for everyone. We don't. We have something for two types of people. Mm-hmm. And I think we can all sit here and we can all say, yeah, that's fucking true. Yeah. A lot of people want to argue with me and like think I'm like a bitch for saying some of these things. And I'm like, well, I'm not making this up. I'm seeing it and I'm repeating it and I'm calling shenanigans. Like, this is just... You're not fraudulent. Yeah, fraudulence. Fraudulence abound. The common theme. If you're anything, you're synergy. Not fraudulent. But I think it's so true. And even just to like the question I just threw at you like 5 minutes ago, like, because I went to Miami 2 years ago, not for the first time, but that was the most recent time. And you know, it was just me and my boy. Obviously, we had to pay for everything, so we had no girls around us. And you know, there was one night where we go to like a Live or an 11, like the big, and then we hold on. I think we might have to have an 11 part. Let's go into 11. Let's dive into 11 for a second. Before you forget what you were gonna say, put a pin in 11. Let's get back to that. Okay, yes, you're right. See, this is good. I need this. Fuck. Okay, and then but we were also able to go to Wynwood area, or like to like a Wood Tavern, or you know what I mean. Where actually, rest in peace, Wood, as of today. I know. I saw that. That's really fucking sad. I'm very happy that I was able to go. Yeah. But you know, where you don't even have to pay for a cover, and the drinks are crazy cheap, and the vibes are insane, and like always good DJs. The music's like unreal, and like, and then it was funny because in Wynwood, like down the street. I'm walking to get like this food truck, some like tacos or something,
and there's bachata music blasting 4 establishments over. You know what I'm saying? And like to me, like me and my boy, like we're both Latino, so like we're like, there's something here for that too.
What's going on
the same street?
Oh
like, and so we pop in and we're like, God damn, like this is great. And then we hop to Koyo Taco and there's a fucking R&B party and this was all in one block.
Oh yeah.
And then we could have just took an Uber back. I mean, this is what we did to 11 and like finished the night at 11.
You could choose your
you know
adventure.
what I mean? Yeah, like
you could go to 8 different places
and this
in
was
one block.
And this was a Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
You know what I'm saying? Like yeah.
It's wild to me how these things can work in other places, but they're also set up to have these these cities are set up for nightlife and like,
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it is like legislation and like laws and stuff. So like, and to your point, like buttoned up, you know, the people holding the pens, like obviously, like you know, we can't eat. There's no restaurants open past like 1 or 2 or whatever the fuck it is. Like that's like my New York homies come through and they're like, "Yo, after the club was hit, some nearby spot."
Like,
and I'm like, we
do
can't.
that here.
Yeah.
Wait, Moon Villa? Because that's all we can go. That's it.
Like
Moon Villa.
No, and then like, oh, can we take the train somewhere? No.
That ended like at 12:30. If you had to go anywhere, you should have left 2 hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like these are like little things that
it's
keep us from being able to grow and do cool shit.
Do you remember when they tried to extend the tea hours and it lasted for like 2 weeks and then they stopped doing it?
I must have missed that.
They like tried for a minute.
Was it hectic those 2 weeks or something?
I don't know. I didn't do it because I was like, oh, that'll be cool because I don't drive and like I'm leaving gigs. I'm like, I don't always want to like flip the bill for a car.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Also, I'm not getting on the T at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning with a backpack with like $5,000 worth of shit in it, and just me. Like,
I lived in New York for a year, and there was nothing really quite like being hammered on a fast moving train at 3, 4 in the morning.
I'd be hammered on 4 o'clock in the morning with smoking a joint on the G train. Like who was I?
Like there's something
you could just do whatever you want.
There's something about it where it's
there are no rules.
Where it's like whoever's there with you is there for a reason probably worse than yours.
Probably.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's something where you like kind of look around.
It's almost
and you're
poetic.
Like, yeah, exactly. it's like that movie moment where you're like, we're here. Like
you're the star of that moment, and you're like you're the leading fucking role in that moment, and you're just like. I'm just
exactly.
gonna do this right now.
Yeah, and there's something beautiful about that we never get here. You know what I mean?
No.
Because in our world, the train is. I think of the T and I get shivers because I just think of like rush hour and like being like sardined in with exactly, and it's just like you don't have those, you know, memorable moments with like your friends if you're spilling through the tea like drunk as fuck, like you know what I mean?
Or if you fell asleep on the train and then
wake
all
up,
of a
God
sudden
knows
you
where.
wake up, you're underground and you wake up and you're above ground, but you know your train never goes above ground and you're completely startled and like, what the fuck did I do? Where am I? And you're in like Canarsie, Brooklyn, and you have to go all the way back and it's just the fucking worst.
Yeah, like and there's
those moments build character.
Yes, yeah, and there's those, especially like, you know, if you're in your like 18 to like 23 where like these like developmental years where like these are where you make the mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Like I guess we have our versions of that, but it's there's things that we miss. There's things that we miss that like keep Boston from becoming a New York, you know what I mean?
We could be a cool city on our own. We just don't want to, like, there's just too many people just trying to do the same shit over and over again. And I will say though, it is nice to see people trying to do stuff that's like a little outside the box. And like I said, I like everything. Like, to DJ for me is like, what's the vibe? Like, let me add it. Like, I don't really have like a preference of what I like. People always ask me that, like, what do you like to play? I'm like, I don't really care. I like to play when I'm told to play, and I'm like, I just like to make that set a good set, whatever that set is. But like, weed. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going.
I fucking forgot where I was going with that. That like Boston. That Boston could be a destination, but I think people just have to think like a little bit differently, a little bit more specific to where we are and like who's here. And I think we're also like we're missing out on a lot of people that want to go out but don't feel like they have a place where they want to go. Like not everybody wants to listen to top 40 EDM all the time or straight up like mumble rap. Sometimes there's like people that want to hear like new disco all night, or they want to hear throwbacks, or they want to hear like backpack hip hop all night, or like whatever it is. I feel like there's enough people in Boston that it could exist. you know, and
I just think there's not enough venues.
No, yeah, that's that's the problem.
Yeah,
the
like,
actual problem is that.
Yeah, because like, you know, I and especially during COVID, like I've just been discovering these like local ass people that like love and crush like this super like niche genre or like this vibe, and they do like because they've been like live streaming. That's like all they play because they're playing for themselves. And I'm like, God damn it! I'm like, but where do they fit? Like I'm like, this is super dope, but I'm like, I don't know where you would do this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, you'd be surprised though. I think one thing I've tried to do in playing is like give people the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes people like don't know what. Honestly, no, nobody knows what they like. Like I'll throw down like a Fiona Apple song in the middle of a hip hop set, and people be like, "Oh shit, okay, this goes kind of hard."
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, but they don't know that because they never would have thought of it. So,
Right.
You know, I try to like challenge people a little bit, but like not throw them off where it's like I'm clearing the floor. But I think that people are down with it. You just have to like massage it into certain crowds, and I just think people have to start doing it more. Like, be bold.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
I completely agree.
We have people are okay and like will probably respond okay to like doing different stuff. You just have to like like any DJ, you have to just feel out the room. But be bold, because like the worst thing that can happen is you clear a room. Who cares? Like, you'll get them back.
Yeah.
You know, you just know for next time. Like,
One of my favorite, and this is something that like I live by as a DJ, is, you know, a good DJ plays what you want to hear. A great DJ plays what you didn't know you want to hear.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And I forgot who the fuck told me that.
Somebody very wise.
But that runs through my head like daily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
and
like, I forgot about that.
yeah,
song.
yeah.
Like,
And there's and people aren't super complex. Like, we had phases, whether it be when we were kids, teenagers, whatever, where like we listened to music that probably isn't that cool anymore.
Yeah.
But
or
it's
who's
still
to say though, also.
Yeah, but it's still like in our personality. It's still in
Yeah.
our inner whatever. So if you like hit that, like these people, they might be like, wait, this is not normal because this is what most clubs or parties don't play. But
Yeah.
like, I fucking love that it's happening. You know what I'm saying? And if you're able to, massage that
You
and
gotta
ease them
capitalize
into
on
it,
that.
and then like see that and feel that and kind of understand how to present it and everything, then all of a sudden you have this very memorable
Yeah.
experience.
It's just
You know
that
what
people
I'm saying?
don't know because they literally don't ever hear it or see it. So, you know, you got somebody that's like only had vanilla ice cream their entire life. And they never knew any ice cream existed.
Wow.
And all of a sudden you give them strawberry ice cream or pistachio ice cream and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, can you imagine? Like,
What an analogy.
but it's true though.
No, yeah,
This
it is.
very
It is.
true. And this is why I keep that in mind and in the front of my mind when I play a lot of rooms, even if like, you know, obviously there's some things where I know I'm like, I'm only playing this type of music and like whatever. But if I have an opportunity to play around, yeah, I want to show people what I can do because I am here as a DJ and I want people to see like why I won those awards or why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I'm able to do what I'm doing. Like I want to show off, like show you what I learned and what I've practiced, like, and I want to see you react to it.
Yeah.
There's only one way to try it, and that's in theory, like or in practice. You have to be in there and just throw some shit at people using the fundamentals of being able to read a room, but challenge people and challenge yourself. And like, you'll probably end up with something like people coming up to you and being like, bruh, I can't believe you just did that.
Yeah. And it takes that one person sometimes where like,
You're like,
it makes your
okay,
whole night. Yeah.
Or when somebody comes up to you and is like, gives you the I liked that transition compliment. Like I love when like when the Normans come up and they're just like the civilians and they're just like, dude, that transition was. I'm like, thank you for like using that word. Thank you for using a key term and stroking my ego at the same time. Like, I appreciate that very specific compliment. But I love that. But I think like, be bold.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Who cares? We have all this music to work with.
The thing that gets me is like the guy like across the entire room who like perks up and just goes and like just points at me. And I'm like, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, you're with me. You're with me.
You just fed me your adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's pumping through my veins right now.
Yeah. I'm like,
I love that.
Yeah, that's me. It's sometimes like not the words. It's just like the energy that you feel across the room with someone. Yeah. Like they're completely on your level and like they understand what you're doing.
Or somebody runs up to you like literally like I love that. That's great. And I think that I hope that more DJs can have these conversations, first of all, and also expand in their sets so that we can create a community of DJing here that's like, we're going to have people that are going to come from other places that are going to want to play here. It's really hard to get out of state, bigger DJ. It's hard. You got to pay them a lot more money to come here because nobody wants to.
We were talking about this in another episode where I was kind of on your argument where I was just like, do people really want to come here? Like, whatever. But I think Ado and the two other DJs we had here, they were saying how this is one of those places that you have to play at to kind of fill that resume.
You do.
Because it is a melting pot place that, like, if you can play here, that means you can play anywhere, which I definitely do believe. But at the same time, like, yeah, you got to pay people. Like,
it's hard.
Like, it's because at the same time, it's like New York like you have so many other opportunities to hit multiple really good places versus here it's like maybe one.
Yeah.
Like that sparks your interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been I gotta. It really depends too. I know that like what I do love is that I think there's a camaraderie in the industry and in certain parts of the scene where it'll be like my friend from New York will be coming to Boston and being like, I'm coming through. You got any shows I can hop on? And I can hit up Knife or Frank, or I can be like, oh, I have something you could like play with me and I'll split the money with you or whatever. Or we could do a gig trade, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's been a really good way to sort of get people to come here. Just when they're like sort of coming through. But when I'm straight up booking like B or A-list talent, it is like a little weird. They want to know a lot more about the venues and the space itself and like who's doing it and like what the I just feel like there's a lot more questions because I was a production manager at a very large venue in Brooklyn, and it was a whole different experience in the talent buying process and booking process to get people to just want to go there. It was much just more like,
yeah, Brooklyn's Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's just that everybody wanted to play there. It was whatever. It was like the second biggest venue besides Mirage. So it's like, you want to play there. But here it's just like a little bit more negotiation, a little bit more questioning about weird things that you wouldn't think they want to know. But it's almost like they're also expecting a lot. And I sort of have to come back at these people with like, the reality of the situation is like, especially if it's like a new market for the artist, like they've never been here before, so this is like really just an intro market for them. So like I'm not going to pay you a New York rate, you know what I mean? Like if nobody knows this person here, like it's like great, they're great in New York, but like nobody knows who they are here, so I'm going to have to put them on direct support for the headliner. So that's that. But it's like you have to sort of, I feel like, coerce people a little bit more, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that as much as I love my hometown, we're not really like a destination the same way that New York is. But coming back to what I was saying before, we don't have to be that. We can be our own thing. And just people would want to come here because, they're like, oh, yeah, Boston's cool. That one bar, like, that other place, and everybody's really nice. And, like, people don't really say that about us. People like, you see, like, weird things. I was watching an episode of something earlier today, like, I think it was 30 Rock. And they had an episode where they came to Boston, and they were just like shitting on Boston. I was like, wow, people do not look at this city like with this. We are here and like we see it differently because we're here. I love it here. I understand like why Boston has a very deserved reputation, but to see it in like pop culture and the way people and like to think that doesn't have an effect on
people's perception
and like certain types of DJs might not want to come here at all, and some people might just like have to force it because like you said, it is an important market in a lot of ways because of how it's so close to New York. It's like what you were saying before, exactly. It's just such an interesting market, very close to New York. You kind of have to come here, but people don't want to come here, which is shitty. But
where do you think so we had a DC DJ on a few weeks ago, shout out Malcolm, and he was saying, one of the questions I asked him was like, how do you compare, because he plays here, he plays both places, and I was like, how do you compare DC DJs and Boston DJs? And he said that Boston DJs are actually crazy skilled.
Yes,
like crazy,
that's so true.
Crazy skilled.
Facts. Everyone.
Like he took some jabs. He was like, you guys play your music crazy fast, blah, blah, blah. But he was like, that is something like, I think you guys are just way more skilled than we are. But as far as DC goes, like we're able to create more unique and original vibes.
Totally.
So
They
you're
have
agreeing.
worked.
I'd love you to just like elaborate on that.
Absolutely could not agree with that more. I've played all over the country. I've lived in a lot of places. I've never seen so many good DJs as we have here, and that includes New York City. Like, there's a lot of DJs in New York City, but that doesn't mean all of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all the DJs I know in Boston are amazing. Like, and especially when you put them up against the people that I've seen who are like the top DJs in their cities, I'm like, there's some things they do. I'm just like, what? Why would you do that? Like, and a lot of places do play. Like when I was over in the West Coast, like I noticed a lot of the DJs in Southern California, they just played all the tracks like really fast, like pitched up, and I didn't understand that. I was like, they're all pretty much the same pitch anyway, so like, why are you changing it? It just like kind of sounds dumb. But they all did it, and I was like, what the hell? And then I got on, and they said the same thing, like, damn, you go through tracks fast. And I'm like, well,
it's a very East Coast thing.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not all the time, but like it's more or less you're creating a vibe with like small parts of the song, and like how people don't know that they don't want to hear the whole song, they only want to hear a little part of it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
They don't know
I sprint through track, and like, but obviously it's like all strategic. Like this song has this bridge, so I need to play the bridge too, or like whatever.
It's pragmatic, but it's not.
Yeah,
it keeps people on their toes, and like you play. There's certain songs that some people want to hear a couple verses. Salt and Pepper. Girls always want to hear. You know, you got to know the songs that the girls want to sing to, and also like I only play music for women. Not to say like that's
ladies first DJ. Hey, I say this all the time.
Like I'm not playing.
Ladies first.
Sorry,
DJ.
Sir. Like, what's your girlfriend want to hear? And you'll thank me later. So like,
my headphones about to come off. All the trappers that shit on me, all like they're like, oh, I don't, it's not. I don't really fuck with him. Like I'm like, yo, I'm sorry I didn't play like the like locker room track or that you like bump like in the whip with your boys.
That's
like,
not.
I'm kind of focused on like my ladies around. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, cause then I do like especially like when like the Celtics pull up, and like they want to hear like their locker room tracks or whatever, which I get. Hey, and like got to play a song or two for the team, whatever, and I play it, and then they're just not dancing. They're just bumping because
then the girls are sitting there like
and then they realize that it was actually like a terrible request because like now I'm in a place where like people actually want to have fun. Yeah, exactly. And then I might play a song that they're like, oh, but then the girls are going crazy. Then all of a sudden the phone is out and they're having a fun time. And I'm like, please, like,
just let me do my job.
Just let me do my job.
I know what
I'm
doing here. We're not like sitting in your living room, like passing around the aux cord. Like,
like I tell people all the time, I'm like, just because a song you listen to it every day at your crib, at your office, in your car, doesn't mean it's going to be a good request in the club. Yeah. And vice versa. A song that you might never listen to alone, you might fucking love in the club.
Those are mostly the songs that 100%.
The example I always
don't listen to are all the songs that work in the club.
The song I always give the example with is like Mo Bamba. Like if you just like sit in your like room and like and
that's what you're
listen, like you are psychotic. You know what I mean? Like
I'm just imagining somebody dead ass
being like, oh yeah, like I like it. Yeah, you know?
Yeah, man.
But play it in the club and I'm going throwing balls. I'm going crazy.
That's a different story.
Yeah. And so that's always the example I give, and they're like, oh, I kind of get what you're saying.
I'm just picturing somebody just like hits blunt. Ooh.
You know what I want to hear right now? Fucking Mo Bamba.
That's excellent.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's very skilled DJs, but we also, and this is something that we talked about in the DMs, like we're on two different, quite literally, sides of the bridge in terms of like where we get most of our experience and also just our communities. What's kind of like, because on my end, I guess being, I've been called a quote unquote downtown DJ, right? And what I've experienced is like, oh, like downtown DJs are a certain way, like they just rely on the lights or like, it's all just the bottle shit. Like we don't want that. I've heard that like multiple times.
From who? People that don't DJ?
It's more so it's been people who like stick on like the Cambridge side, like that's like their vibe.
Yeah. And
I remember there was a very distinct conversation I had where I met this woman who she was like, oh, you're a DJ, like I'm a little bit in this like I've been around a little bit, like where do you DJ? And like I was naming the places that I played at, which was mostly like Stewart Street like spots, and she's like, oh. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And she was just like, oh, you're one of like those DJs. And I was like, what? And to some people, like these are impressive places. You know what I'm saying? So like to get that reaction, I was like, sorry, I'm not following. She goes, yeah, like that whole scene is just like, it's just not real, like whatever. Like the place I go, like that's like the real stuff. Like, and I was just like,
wow, that's objective. That's a pretty
but it wasn't the first time that I heard something like that.
Well, that just sounds like a typical Boston hater, honestly, because there's nothing but that over here. I just think Boston is full of haters. Like what? Why does she say that? Like who cares? Like somebody, you know what? It's like I might not like something, but somebody else does, and that doesn't make it not valid just because I don't like it. Like who are you? You're nobody. Like nobody's anybody. Like humble the fuck down. Like somebody, just because like somebody doesn't like what you do doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Just if you don't have anything nice to say, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised, but I was just like, is that like the rhetoric? Like, is that what people feel over? Like, you know what I mean? I
certainly don't hear. I've never heard like people just say that. I think that when I hear stuff like that, it's more directed at the crowd and not the DJs. Because I mean, like, shoot, I know all the dudes that play down there, and they're all like, most of them are like really good friends of mine, and they're all great people, and like, you know, like. I have played a lot of those places and I have a great time and I don't feel any kind of way. So I don't know. I think like maybe when people say that, they're thinking very generally. And first of all, I don't like to like be judgmental like that. And if I've sounded all hypocritical from anything I've said tonight, whatever. But I don't like to just like judge people's likes. And I think I used to when I was young and I had a chip on my shoulder, but now I'm just like, man, I like a lot of weird shit, and I just want to be able to like it, and I'm certainly not going to take away anybody else's, like, want to like whatever the hell they like. And if you like going to downtown clubs or you like hanging out at the Model and with a bunch of grody-ass humans, like, we could say a lot of things about a lot of different places. You could call the downtown clubs douchey. You could call the Cambridge club, the bars, like, grimy and shitty and, like, small time. Like, you could say whatever, you know, say whatever you want. But I think I would like to think that that's not a reflection of like the DJs. It's just like people think that that's like the general vibe. Like, I don't know. 'Cause I don't feel that way. And I don't know anybody that feels that way, but I guess I can understand like that frame of mind, which I mean, I don't agree with it.
I mean, the crowds are definitely different.
They're different, but that's the crowd. Like, people suck. So like I don't care. Like I'm there to do my job, and like the moral fiber of the crowd in front of me is like not really my problem. I'm just there to do my job, and like I would love to play at more like downtown spots cuz I just think it's fun. It's a different vibe. Just like how if you were playing big rooms all the time, it might be fun to go play like places like A4K and in Middlesex where you can just like do whatever the hell you want. It's nice. I had both. You know what I mean? I was a resident at Liberty Hotel for like 4 years. It was monotonous going there 3 nights a week, or like at least having to. I wasn't there every week, but like any week that I had that it was like the Liberty back to back. No shade to them. This isn't their fault, but like anyone has to go play a place 3 times a week, you're gonna get incredibly bored. So you know, like playing places like that, I would die to just go across the street and play at Beacon Hill Pub. Like I'd have a night once a month where I'd go play at BHP, or like go down and play, like somebody will have me on at Zuzu or something, and I'll just go from making like a good amount of money to making like pretty much nothing, but like having the time of my life.
Right.
Like I would make like 3 times more what I would make on New Year's Eve than what I do now but it's like Trina's is like the funnest fucking New Year's Eve party you'll ever be at.
Where's it at?
It's in Somerville. It's a little dive bar. It's like an industry. It's like it's a lot of industry people. It's like my favorite place in the world. And I went from doing these huge, big production New Year's Eve parties, making a lot of money, but they were so boring. Yeah. To like being on top of the bar, pouring fucking champagne and people, shit show. Like just having a good time. And like I was like, sometimes I just like I don't need all that. It's everything in moderation, you know. I think like why not do both? Why not do it all? Like I don't like that like narrow guise of like the industry and like, oh well, you do that, so you could never do this, and it exists in like the sub sex of like the techno scene and the house scene. I see like sub scenes like throwing shade at each other. I was like, when is it gonna end? Like we just need to just let people live. Everybody do what they want to do. No judgments, because like you don't want people like telling you what to do as far as like, oh well, yeah, this isn't cool, so You like it though, but it's not cool anymore. So go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's shitty that anyone made you feel like that, and I don't think that's cool, and it's awfully judgmental. And
I mean, I think
okay.
it's my mistake to think that I just assumed that like I had to represent everybody, which I shouldn't have done. You know what I'm saying? But it was just one of those things where like I would pull up to certain Cambridge spots like and try and talk to people, and they'd be like, you're a downtown guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm here.
I think there's just a lot of salty people around.
Yeah.
And like, I guess, I mean, grass is greener on either side of it, I guess. Like, I don't know. But I do think that there's some salty people everywhere. Like, you go to both sides of the bridge, there's Boston salt. Just heavily seasoned.
It's just so weird, like, because like when we first connected, like one of the things I said was like, it's so crazy how we're talking about Boston not being that big, or like it's not, again, not in New York, whatever. Yeah. But we've never met.
I know,
and
which is crazy.
And we're both DJs in Boston.
Yeah.
And this is our first time meeting everybody.
I know, it's nuts, but I mean it's good. Because, I mean, before COVID, if you didn't meet another DJ, it probably meant that you guys are always working. So that's good.
That's fair.
I looked at it as a good thing. Like,
very
hey,
fair.
yeah, we haven't met because we've both been busy, and that's fantastic.
Very positive energy. I like it.
But it's so true. Yeah, you can go years with, like, just seeing somebody and never having met them, and it's wild because it's like we're such a, like, I could probably be across the street from somebody playing that I've known for 5 years but haven't met in real life. And then you finally get to meet people. I don't know. I think it's cool. I like everybody that I've met in Boston over the last, 15 years. And, like, some of the, like, best friends I've made just through DJing and meeting other people and, like, meeting people in the music scene. Even, like, in, like, the live music scene, too. I used to like run beats for a lot of the MCs in Boston, and like I've worked with a lot of bands, and even like expanding into that part of the world, which is kind of different than the DJ world, but we're all still really connected.
Yep.
And it's cool to like when you get to be in a room with all your friends that you don't get to see, like when we used to do the DJ nights at Good Life, or like even like the Boston Music Awards are so kind of like weird and lame, but like it's cool to like go there and like be in a room.
Says a 2-time winner, right?
I know, but like people, do you know how much of a problem people have made that for me?
What do you mean?
They're like, oh, Boston Music Awards, and like you have no credibility and all this shit. And I'm like, dude, I didn't ask for this. It was given to me. I didn't fucking campaign for the goddamn thing.
Wait. So because you won, they thought you weren't deserving of winning?
Yeah, I was just like dudes that are just. I don't even want to.
You think it was because you're a woman?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I just think that dudes are bitter, and like they think that because like the same, and I'm not in disagreement with the fact that like I think that the Boston Music Awards in general needs to like kind of revamp their nomination process and like kind of involve more of the city and more of the artists. And like when I got nominated like 9 times in a row, and I was like, come on. Like, come on. Like, I won 2. I'm happy. Like, I would like another woman to win an award. Yeah. And, like, you don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be me. I'm fine with what I've done. But I've noticed, like, it just got, like, more, the echo chamber just started to get louder and louder with, like, bitterness. Like, oh, well, this is fixed and it's fixed. And I'm like, you know what? Like, most award shows are fucking fixed. Like, we can all, And, like, I do think that they should change it, but there was just so much shade being thrown. Like somebody literally was like, "Oh, I don't know who this girl is. She has no credibility." And I'm like, "Dude, you don't know who I am. Exactly. I've never been in the same room as you. You've never seen me play. You don't know anything about me, and you're telling me I don't have any credibility? Who are you? Who am I? Like, what the fuck? I don't care. Like, cool. This, this doesn't even matter to anyone except maybe my wedding clients. Like, nobody even really cares. It's a big deal because it's like, being a woman, being a queer woman, and being in Boston, it's a big deal for those reasons. And it's I like to see that, and I'd like to see more women being nominated and more women. I don't want to be the only woman. Yeah. I would welcome all my ladies. Like, let's go. Like, why can't we have 10 women nominated? Yeah. I'm not going to get too deep into that.
Hate to be that guy, but we are going to go.
All right.
We are open.
All right.
What's great about you is you're opening every can of worms that I was going to try and open, and you're doing it like yourself. And I'm like, perfect. I'm here for the ride. Let's do it. I mean, let's just start from just like so you won what years? You won twice. So what years?
2011 and 2016.
Okay.
And then I got an Improper Award in 2013. which is the improper Bostonian, like the best of Boston thing. But yeah, I got 2 of those, 11 and 16.
And so, I mean, what's cool about that? I mean, I would say by 2011, 2016, 2 very different, like, the environment changes every so often. And so, at that time, I guess you personally, like, ignoring the haters or the shade, whatever, do you feel that, like, you were deserving? Do you feel like you did what you had to do? Like, do you feel like you felt like I deserve this? Like,
yeah.
And so at the time, like, what was going on?
Like, why I won?
Yeah, like I mean, I guess, like, were you doing your own party that was recognized? Were you just booked out the butt? Were you just the best skilled?
I think it was, like, probably because I knew how to align myself with certain types of people, like journalists and people that are involved with things that I want to be involved with, or, like, just kind of seeing the scene as a whole and seeing where I fit in, and, like, kind of, like, wanting to meet the people that can expose me to whatever. And, like, I literally said in 2009 on a blog, and I believe that blog was Mass Pike Miles' blog, that I was coming for everyone. And I had just moved back to Boston. I was like, I don't know what all this competition shit is, but, like, hold on to your motherfucking seats, because I'm coming for everyone. I'll see you at the Boston Music Awards next year.
Love it.
2010 comes around. Knife calls me up, tells me I'm nominated. It was great having my homie tell me that. And it was a big deal at the time because I had, like, done a lot very quickly. Like, I had come back from Boston, and everybody was like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, somebody like Julian from Heartthrob, which was, he works for Karma Loop. He was like, oh, you're like that lesbian that plays hard body hip hop. I like you. I was like, actually, that's kind of a accurate.
If there's any testimonial, I'll take that testimonial.
So people, I think people were just like, see, I was being very bold as I am, and I was really just in a lot of faces and very persistent, and I was throwing my own parties at the time, one at Good Life and one at Zuzu, and I think I gained a lot of ground very quickly. And very aggressively. And I think that back then I definitely wasn't as good as I am now. But I was doing a lot of stuff that people were not. I was really going open format.
You're making noise.
I was really, like, doing some, like, crazy shit and, like, challenging myself and challenging people. And, like, the stuff I was doing was a little bit more unique because I had a Tuesday night weekly that got a lot of really dope guest DJs because of who we had on our resident roster at the time and the connections we had with artists in New York and in LA. And, the Good Life thing was also, like, that happened, like, really quick, and that party was, like, really, really successful. And I did that for, like, 4 years, and I did the party at Zuzu for 8.5 years. So, and I was also sort of creating my own lane everywhere I went because I wasn't getting booked at the big clubs. Like, I wanted to play there, but
why do you think you weren't?
I don't know. I just think you had to know the right people. I mean, to me, it comes down to who you know. I mean, it's great to know everything, like what you know. It's good if you're a professional and you're good at your job. But honestly, like, that there are people out there that are not good at that jobs, that are doing things that arguably other people should be doing, but they're doing it because of who they know. Yeah. So I think that part of the business is very important, and that's where a lot of DJs miss, is the business end of it. Yeah. That is all of it for me. I think now, like, I'm always practicing and always trying to be a better DJ. I don't say that I am a DJ. I say I've been learning how to DJ since, because it's a never-ending curve. Absolutely. You stop learning stuff in DJing, just quit. Like, you've got to your end. Like, you shouldn't even be doing this anymore. There's always something to learn. I like that. And you can always learn something from somebody, whether they're a novice or whether they're a pro. Like, there's something to learn from everyone. But yeah, I just think I made a lot of noise and I did it in a smart way. And on top of that, like, I'm good at it, and maybe not. I think I was good then, but I'm so much better now. Like, obviously, like, if you're over time, you should be practicing. No matter, like I said, you should be always, like, leveling up. So, like, if me being, like, very self-critical, I would be like, no, she was horrendous. But, like, honestly, no, I was good back then. I'm better now. But I think more or less it was, I knew how to charge the right channels. I knew how to market myself. I knew whose hands to shake. And I think that is valuable. Yeah, super important. Like, sorry that if anyone felt bothered by that, which, okay, but it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, man. And I'm not the best. Maybe I'm not the best. I don't think I'm the best. I don't think I'm the best fucking DJ in the world. And I'm confident because why not? Like, why wouldn't I be confident in my skills? I am good, but I'm not sitting here saying I'm the fucking best. And I think people mistake my confidence for like some serious ass cockiness or like delusional shit, but like that's not at all what it is. But yeah, I can attribute most of that to being a good DJ and also for stepping outside the box at a time when people were just like looking. They were seeing me, and like I was able to get a lot of people's attention, and I was doing a lot of new stuff. And then 2016, I had just been like, I was in excellent form at that point, and it was kind of I didn't know that was going to happen. Like, I won the one, and I thought that would always be it. And I just kept getting nominated, and I really just stopped taking it seriously after like 5 times. I'm like, all right, like even Frank, like we're all just like, okay, come on. Like we're like, it, cause it does come back to you, and people do have something to say about it. Yeah. And it's like, dude,
it's like perennial nominations.
Yeah. It's like without knowing who I am or anything about who, like what makes me a person, people assessed things about my entire life. And I was like, I'm not even anyone. Like, why do you even have an opinion? Like, focus on your own goddamn life.
Did you see that? You know, this particular award is like, it started losing legitimacy because you even felt that you shouldn't have been nominated for some of those years, maybe?
Maybe. I just like, I felt like there should have been something in place. Like, I even was like, can I be on the nomination committee? Like,
instead, I feel like if you win, you should be on the nomination committee.
Yeah, I think if you like, if you win 2 times, you should just move on and like just be
You're
invited.
just legendary at that point and just be on the nomination committee.
Because there's so many good DJs. I'm like, this isn't fair. I don't think it's accurate. Like, there was a time that DJs and producers were in the same category. So it's not like the Boston Music Awards itself just has a weird sorted pass with electronic artists and like inclusivity. It's like something that's kind of been a part of their thing for a long time, and I don't understand. And I think the people that run it are really nice. Like, I don't want to sound like
but honestly, like, if we're gonna be real and critical of this, like,
and I think it's helpful criticism if they take it, but I think that it would be.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna be listening to this.
Well, you never know, man.
Never know.
You never know. So I hope somebody is, because honestly, and this goes back to like just creating a better landscape for Boston and the people in it. How do these 400 people on the committee not, like, I don't know that many. It's something like that. It's something ridiculous. And I'm like, that doesn't, they're business owners, community people. I don't really know. It's like it's anonymous. So like, there's like, I really don't know much about this.
Yeah,
like, this
wild.
is a mysterious thing to me too. And like,
that's crazy.
Nobody really knows anything specific, but I do wish that they would put a system in place where there were more DJs able to get shuffled into the nomination, even just like consideration. Cause like, we all know Frank is a fucking dope DJ. Yeah. And Khan and Super Smash Brothers and I don't know. Literally everyone who's ever been nominated for that category is amazing and deserves it 100%. Yeah. But there are so many other DJs in Boston who are also amazing and also deserve it and work their asses off and aren't getting recognized. And I think if we're going to make this an important thing, then make it an important thing and make it for our city, and not like nominate DJs that don't even live in Boston anymore. Like, why is Chubby Chub getting a nomination? No shade, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Why is Aerosmith being nominated for anything? They haven't been here in years, since Nam probably. I don't fucking know.
I mean, but and this is even, you talking triggered like this thing where back to like the whole downtown versus like Cambridge or whatever we want, or like big club versus like bar thing. Like, I know. Like, we had Real P here a few weeks ago, who was recent
one of the hardest working dudes in the game.
Yeah, and his win was kind of a big deal because he does a little bit of both, and he kind of repped for like the downtown heads, and like because not a lot of downtown DJs are ever nominated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or like bottle service DJs are nominated, and so I know as far as like every time the nominations went out, it was like there's this whole, to your point, this whole list of like quote unquote, again, I hate to use the term, but that's just where we would to be consistent for the conversation. Downtown DJs that like work their ass off, do a million things and do really well or whatever that are never recognized.
Because the guise isn't wide enough. Like, it's not a broad enough, like, whoever these eyes are, they're not looking in enough places. Because I think that there's talent in every part, not just when you're just looking at downtown and the bars, even everything that is around that and between that. Like, there's so much. And I feel like out of all of these people that they have on the committee, they're all looking at the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, what's the point of that? That makes it's like literally, why are we even doing this?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense when we have so much to showcase. And that's the thing. They want to showcase Boston. Then showcase Boston. Like, you could have 10 different DJs every year. You wouldn't have to repeat. Like,
because there's enough.
I think I'm in my company, like me, Frank, the people that have been getting nominated repeatedly since 2009, before that, would all be in agreement. We would all be fine if we were left off the bill. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm pretty sure that most
I know
of
what you're saying.
If I know them the way I do, I think everybody would be like, great, this is awesome. We would like to see our other friends get some recognition, even if it's just a nomination. It is cool. It does feel good, but what makes it feel weird is when it just is the same
and you're
thing.
like, oh shit.
And it's like, it's, I mean, I look at it for what I look at it, but when you look at it from, perception is reality. I get what other people see, and I'm like, wow, like, it makes me not want to be a part of it, because like, and though it's not, it's like the last 2 years I didn't get nominated. I was like, finally, but I was kind of
which is weird. We're like,
it's like, it sounds terrible, and I'm like, I'm very grateful, and like, I love what I do, and I'm very grateful, but this is more just me I'm looking at the community, and I'm like, there's no I don't want to be up there every year. I want my friends to be up there every year. Like, I want to see all the dozens and dozens of people I know that are so talented, but also, like, we should all put the stake in it that it deserves, that it's not this, like, it's great and it means something, but let's not blow it up.
Yeah.
It's not everything. But I do think that there are things that could be adjusted that could make it, like, again, like, a thing that people look forward to and want to be a part of, because it is actually showcasing artists, because you see something new every year, or like, you meet a new artist that you've never seen before. But the party itself is really fun. That's why it's like, you get to see all these awesome people and hang out with them on a night together, and that's what makes it great. So I'm like, it's like, I have a lot to say about it, but those nights have always been so much fun. Like, just hanging out in a room with everyone you never get to see.
Yeah.
All the people you know in bands, and all your, like, MC friends, and all your DJ friends, and the producers, and the back end people and staff. You get to hang out with all these people, and it's like in a room of, you're there all for the same reason, and it's just kind of cool. I don't know.
No, yeah.
But,
I'm sure the energy's insane.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand where people's frustration comes from, because I think everybody, especially in the DJ category, probably feels the same. I think there's more switching out in other categories. Like, I don't know, I don't like super look through them all, but like, I feel like all the other categories get more shifting of artists than the DJ category. I feel like it's kind of just been the same. Very deserving people, but there are, again, like,
absolutely.
I feel like I keep excusing what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is factual, and I'm not sorry for it.
So, as we suggest in the bio, the first and only woman so far to have won the award, correct? Do you feel like a responsibility to represent? Do you feel a responsibility in general?
Yeah.
Just, obviously, I don't, and I will never know what it's like to be a female DJ. You being in that kind of position, can you just kind of speak about kind of what that's like?
It's very, it's like a dichotomy. It's definitely a polarized, weird thing where it's frustrating. I don't know. I've had, like, not even that many conversations with other women identified DJs about this, because everybody has different experiences, but we can all sort of agree that the challenges behind being a woman and being a DJ are just pretty much rooted in respect and treating me the same you would like some other guy. Like, I can't tell you how many times like a dude has literally like moved me over and just started scratching while I'm playing on a stage in front of a sold out crowd. This has happened to me probably like 7 or 8 different times. Like, can you imagine if somebody just came up to you and moved you over and started playing over your set without really even asking? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody coming over to you and making sure that like assuming you know nothing about what you're doing? And like, honestly, these days I can understand why more production people are concerned about that because of the same kinds of reasons. But like being like explained what I'm doing and I'm like, I know what, like, I don't need you in my ear. I know what I'm doing. Like having somebody hover over me because they think I'm going to do something wrong. And I'm like, dude, how long have you been doing this? Because I've been doing this literally my entire life. And it's an RCA setup. Like, calm down. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And, like, also, like, the bigger thing where it's, like, the way women are regarded. Like, there are actual studies that have been done about, like, the statistics of women at festivals, women being booked at big music festivals. The numbers are embarrassing.
Yeah.
And, like, we're talking single digits across the board. There are no music festivals, maybe 1 or 2. But when I say they go over, we're talking 12% is the max out of 100% of all music festivals, including Bonnaroo, including the biggest music festivals in the country and the world, Glastonbury. 12% is the highest, but 7% was about the median. That's disgusting. And the reasoning for this, which was also a very similar answer across the board, is that, well, there's just like no women out there, which is crap. And then you look at like how women are booked based on beauty standards and not really like their ability to DJ, whatever their ability is. And people are like, oh, well, you know, that's, you're anti-woman. I'm like, no, because it's not fair to the women who want to dress that way. Like, I don't dress like that, but that's, who's to say? That shouldn't even, why are we even talking about this? Because there's literally no beauty standards for men. There are none. Those don't exist. So why are, like, I don't even want to get into an argument about it because it shouldn't even be a topic. Why are we focused on her clothes? Why are we focused on the way I look? Why is that a thing? Why is that all of a sudden a thing? So it's, again, it's not things that I personally feel about, because I obviously feel personally like it's super fucking annoying and it hinders my career quite a bit, that after all these years, I'm now this is going to be a beauty contest that you want me to compete in, because I've never been about that life. But I'm looked at as, oh, you're angry and like, oh, you got to calm down. I'm like, no, I don't want to calm down, because you're treating me and all these women like fucking objects. And like, I just want to fucking come in here and play a set. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to battle? Like, what do you want? Do you need me to embarrass you to have me take you seriously? Like, what do you want to do right now? And
it's wild how in audio, like a job that's audio based, is being so.
Yeah, and it's like it's always sort of tripped me out when the focus started to like go to the DJ, like across the board. Like when you go to like big shows and like everybody's just like watching the DJ, I'm like, what are you watching? Like, let's dance. They're not doing anything you understand. You can't even see what they're doing. They could be making themselves a sandwich out there. You don't know.
Whenever I hear people just come up to me, like, DJ, right?
Yeah. Like, yes.
That's exactly what I do.
This is what I've been doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like weird double standards for sure, and it's frustrating. And this is another thing that I want to see change in Boston, is when I see places like still using like pictures of women to promote nights.
Oh yeah.
I don't love that. And I've been on a lot of flyers like that, but now I have a clause in my contract that gives me I get final cut for those flyers. Like if there's a fucking naked lady on there with my name on it, you have to pick something else.
I've always, you know, and for a different reason obviously, but like I've always been like, yo, can we not just get the what's the site, like
the stock photo
thing,
like
stock, I forget
whatever it is, but like
you know
like,
what I'm talking about.
Just like the generic photos that you can just like look up and get, like,
and it's like
come on,
transparent, so you can put it on anything, and I'm just like, yo, can we like get away from that? I see
some dope flyers that have nothing to do with anything. They're just like dope flyers.
They're
like
creative flyers.
Hire a designer to make you a flyer. Don't do this cheesy neon.
We're opening a different can of worms that like, and like I've started doing my own events, and it was me and my partner, shout out Noel, me and my part. He is not a club guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is, he does photography, he does videography, he does design. And I was like, this is an idea of what I want, and like go crazy. And like that's how we kind of started doing our promoting, and that was what was cool about it. And because I was like, I'm so tired of like these stock fucking generic ass shit. And when I'm like, you can make shout out Malcolm again, who I'm gonna mention again for the DJ from DC. Like he throws his own party there, and he was doing like a flyer was like it was like a Chinese takeout menu.
Mm-hmm. See, that's cool.
Like you know what I'm saying? And like
conceptual shit.
Yeah,
that's
conceptual. Like, yeah, and like instead of like wingding dinner or whatever, it was like the DJs and like
that's
the time
dope.
and
that's
like,
cool. And that's also something somebody might keep.
Yeah.
When somebody keeps a flyer, that's when you know you're doing it.
Yeah, and like I'm like, this is the shit that keeps Boston from like being able to be fucking cool, because it's rinse and repeat. It's the cheapest thing you can do because you don't want to put thought into the actual event, and that's why a lot of these events become like to your point from the very beginning of the conversation, they're just stale because you're not putting 3D thought into the actual event. You're just like, I want this to look like this, so I'm going to put, whether it be the money, whether it be the time, the creativity.
Yeah, there's only one focus.
To do this. Plus, okay, now the music. I need this DJ for this reason. And because I need the vibe to be like now it's just like, I need as many people in the door. You know what I mean?
I got to shout out one person that I think does this so well. My friend Carrie, DJ Carrie Quirk. She does the Ooze. And her party used to be at Zuzu, and now she just runs a stream. And now her stream is insane. Like, she has Clockwork playing with her tonight. Mac Miller's DJ. Yeah. And but what I'm saying about her is she thinks about her parties in so many different directions and like layers. Like, she has her merch game is out of control. Like, she has keychains that look like Tamagotchis and like shorts and hoodies, and she goes all out with that stuff.
Yeah, I'm like looking up her stuff right now.
Yeah, I'll send you your stuff if you can't find it. But shout out to Carrie, because I think that like she's one of the people that are really, and she comes from like Flavor Media. Like she got her start with them, so she comes from like a bigger club background. But she and also she was working at Wonder Bar. Doing their events for a long time too. But she really thinks outside the box, and she thinks about her parties very three-dimensionally, and you could tell down to like the flyer design, the aesthetic of the night, because she has all different kinds of DJs, so it's not really a music focus, but branding, marketing, like she thinks about all of it, and that you can tell. And when you have a polished product like that, it's completely apparent, and that's always going to stand out. So it's almost like maybe I hate that stuff exists, but also maybe right now those things kind of have to exist to sort of give that contrast of like, oh, see, this is much cooler. I don't really want that anymore. I want this cool stuff. And like this will naturally just go away. I think. I hope.
I would hope, but like it's been alive for so long. Like as long as I've been in the game, like I'm like, yo, there was a year where I saw the same exact like flyer template on 5 different nights that I did, and like to a point where someone was like, "Yo, isn't this an old event?" I'm like, "No, this is a new event, just the same exact fucking flyer,
but different people."
Stop it. And I'm like, I don't know what the site is, but they all got it. They all got the subscription to that site because they're using the same shit.
That is,
you know what I mean?
Embarrassing.
Yeah, there's certain flyers that I get where I hit up the promoter. I'm like, I can't post this.
Yeah, no,
because I'm embarrassed.
But that's a real thing. Well, you can't put your name on something. It's like when a hairdresser fucks up your hair, they don't want you walking around like that. That's like a calling card way out there in the open.
Yeah.
Like you gotta keep that shit tight. You can't end up on
I'm like guys, like if it's cutting costs, like whatever, like get it fucking, and like you gotta have more pride for yourself. Like this is bad.
Yeah, there's always a way. There's always, where there's a will, there's a way. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, you don't have the money to do it. Like figure out a way. Work harder. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Dyslexia.
Who are some you mentioned Carrie, like who are some other like really, really dope DJs that if we don't know already we should be looking out for, at least locally?
I always have to throw it back to my dads. I love them, and I honestly think they're some of the most talented DJs I've ever seen. Like Frank White, Knife, Eveready, Braun, Khan, Breck One. Those dudes, watching those dudes play makes me want to go home and practice. And they're very inspirational. They like definitely from the get-go were dudes that I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's when those dudes are around, I just want to impress them. Like, actually, that's all I've ever wanted to do is impress the dudes that, like, taught me and that, like, were people that I looked up to. Like, I just, like, do you guys think I'm good?
Yeah.
Because that's really all I care about.
Yeah.
Like,
because they know.
I want the big dogs to think that I can run with them. And that's really an important thing for me. But other than them, also, it's been so friggin' long. Jay Wall, I love him. He's he works out of Brass Union and does Druid on Thursday nights, which is another, like, it's a little dive bar in Inman Square, and every Thursday it's fucking slammed with, like, it's an industry spot, so it's just, like, bartenders, servers, other DJs. Like, Ryan Brown will be down there with me all the time, and we just get fucked up, and Jeff throws down, like, an amazing open format set. You'll go in from, like, Talking Heads into Run DMC into, like, some other shit. Like, you never know what you're gonna hear. Who else? The Collective, they're always doing cool shit. I gotta always give it up to them because they're just really, really threw down and have, like, perfected the day party in Boston. Like, love what they do and always, like, trying to look out for anything they got popping off. It's more like I just miss all these people. I'm not watching anyone.
I'm, like,
DJ.
hearing your voice, like, get sadder and sadder.
Like,
I kind of just miss them.
You know, Ryan Brown, like, I don't know, Salim from Bad Rabbits. Like, he's also an amazing DJ. He's my boy. Love him.
Well, I guess now a better question is, because you're naming spots that I don't, like, obviously, like, and that's the beauty of this. Like, what are some of, like, the dope spots that maybe, hopefully, if we get back, you know, I got to check out.
I hope these all, I just hope they all open. A4K.
We might get emotional. Yeah.
Have you been to A4K?
Yeah. But it was my primary date spot for a while.
Oh, it's such a good date spot. Also,
great date spot.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I like them a lot. They just really let you do whatever and, like, encourage you to be as creative as possible and, like, literally tell you, they're like, don't play top 40 music.
Did they have a booth monitor for you guys?
Yeah.
Cause
it's a KRK. Is it a KRK? I think it's a Rocket. It's, like, right here.
Oh yeah. Cause it's not loud. Like, it's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be.
What I mean?
But where I'm at is loud. It's a little QSC. They got the little. Little.
Cause I was always like, cause I would see, like, I remember one time I was there. I think Vic was there.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh shit, like, whatever. And then I'd be like, but it's not loud. Like, I was like, I wonder if they have a booth, because if I can barely hear, like, I bet they can barely hear.
No, they have there's a speaker right in your face, because it's definitely not as loud there, but it's still very fun to play. And people pay attention. People actually really do pay attention to the music there, even though it's not as loud. Like,
well, something like that, like, you need kind of the ambience to match.
Yeah.
Like what's going on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I always have fun there, and, you know, they got a great cocktail program, which I appreciate. Yeah. And Middlesex, always fun, and that's, like, usually I'm playing there by myself, so I'm there 9 to 2, and I love that.
And you approach that like so, like, what night of the week was it?
It's usually always a Friday or Saturday night.
And so when it's like, okay, Friday, Saturday night at Middlesex, it's not like a, like, I don't know, like a throwback night. Like, you just walk in and you're like.
Yeah, I mean, from 9 to 10, there's usually no one there. So I usually would just, like, maybe even put on a mix and just, like, chat with bartenders, grab my little pre-gig drinks, smoke a little weed out back. And people usually don't start coming in until way after 10. But if I'm feeling like playing, like, I'll throw down, like, I'll just play straight classics, like, just play stuff I know I'm not going to really be able to play during the night and just kind of get warmed up, get in my feels. But I that's, like, one of those things, like, it really just depends on who's in front of me. Like, I read crowds really well, so whoever, I can pretty much, like, gauge the flow of the night once I start seeing people come in. And, like, that's one of those rooms I've played there so many times. I know it works.
Yeah.
And I know, like, the receptiveness levels of people there, but they let you get pretty weird, and it's a fun time. Like, I've had a really good time playing there. And I also really love Trina's again. I love playing there. It's not even set up for DJing at all, but it's just such a shit show, and it's so fun.
You're making it. I need to.
You gotta pull up.
I gotta check it out.
Once we go back to normal, you'll have to come to.
I'm gonna
Monday.
be blowing you up. I'm gonna be like, yo, tell me what the spots.
No, I'm gonna be. You gotta come to Trina's with me on a Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
Oh, let's fucking get it.
Monday brunch is the shit. That's, like, industry.
Wow.
Everybody's there, so it's so much fun. And we're just getting hammered all day because you just had the weekend, so it's perfect. It's, like, all service bartenders, DJs.
You saying you smoke before your sets, like, really freaks me. I'm not a big smoker at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, here for a good time. Takes
all kinds, you know.
But, like, you know, I remember 3 years ago, Hempfest. I was just there, like, just DJing, like, on a tent. Like, my homie has, like, a little brand or whatever, and I was just throwing a set with my other homie, whatever. And so, obviously, like...
I think that was the year I was DJing there, too. It was the Red Man Method Man year.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I can't...
That was the year I used to... You know, it's so funny. I can't remember, but...
I... Obviously, you know, being there all day, like... I had edibles and whatnot. Like, I was just hanging, and we go to like and I was playing at a spot in Back Bay that night, and so obviously in between we just had dinner in downtown, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, like this is gonna wear off, you know, by 10, 11. Like I'll be fine.
No.
Yo, it was
famous last words always.
Oh my god, and
it's not gonna kick in.
And I'm not a
I'm
not a very anxious person at all.
Oh.
And I was like, my boys were like, yo, it's fucking lit, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, everyone hates me. Like, no one's vibing.
That's the worst.
Like, and they were like, dude, like, it's like literally a movie out here. Like, and I'm like,
you're fine.
I feel horrible. I was like, I need this to end. Like,
yeah.
And
edibles are different though. See, I won't fuck around with the edible when I have to work. Smoking is a very much more controlled experience.
Ever since then, I will never do anything.
Hell no.
We're going marijuana before DJ set. Because I felt, like, I literally felt like not fun. Like it was not fun.
I would not want to feel that way either. But edibles are that's a whole other animal. You're really throwing caution to the wind. You don't know what's gonna happen. That shit could kick in, be done in an hour. You're in it for 10.
Because I had heard of people who like they're like, oh yeah, I get high as fuck for my sets and like let it ride.
I smoke.
And, like,
I don't take edibles for that's I can't do.
I mean that's just the inexperienced part of me. Like
I mean some people can just chow them down and be fine. I don't trust it. That's something I have to do when I'm like alone at home and like not working.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends because some sets I don't do anything. I won't drink or smoke. It just really depends. Like I've had like big sets where I'll be opening for like I don't know, like I opened for A-Track before and like and like
where was that?
At Paradise, and that was a sold out night, and I was opening for him and Salva. So it was.
You gotta be on point.
I was, and there was and I was nervous. I was super nervous. It was the first time I'd been nervous in a while.
Yeah. And
it felt good to be nervous, first of all. But if I mix that nervousness with that weed, you know, it's gonna be a bad time for me.
That's the interesting thing about it because I've had gigs where I'm like, nah, like I can't let anything like.
Yeah.
Like there are nights where I'm like I'm arguably way better because I'm fucking wasted.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Or you feel comfortable. You're just
you're
in the pocket,
you want to take risks and
But there's some nights where it's just like that's not going to be okay.
I
totally There's just
but then I'm like, mate, will I do better if I'm just a little loose? Like and that then I start stressing myself out.
If I question it, I just say no.
Yeah.
If I know when I'm gonna be okay to like get a little loose.
Yeah.
I never get drunk, and I have before, and I don't like it. But like I can say like I've probably only gotten like 2 drunk during a DJ set, maybe 2 times in my entire.
Wow.
Like I know myself, so I'm not gonna try it. But with weed, it's different. It just depends on the event. If it's like if I'm running beats for an artist and if I'm not like don't have like an already established set with them, no smoking. I want to be that's their thing.
Yeah.
Or if I'm DJing a wedding.
Oh yeah.
Totally sober. But,
Yeah.
like, you know, if I'm at my spot, I'm at Middlesex or whatever, like, I'm probably blasted super high. Like, but I know myself. I know what I can do and what I can't do at this point. But, yeah, there's definitely moments that I'm just like, I have to be sober. I never really get that drunk. I, like, have my beers and my little cocktails here and there, but I keep it. I know myself. I got to keep it 100. I got to be an adult.
People always ask me, like, how I do it. And I'm like, yo, when you do think something a million times, like, you can
pretty much have, like do it behind your back.
Yeah,
you know, eyes closed.
My Dominican ass barber cuts my hair fucking wasted.
Yeah, and you don't even think about it.
Yeah, because he does it so a million times, like, and he does it like now. Like I remember, there was one time he wasn't drinking, and I was like, "Yo, are you good? Like, are you gonna be able to cut my hair right? Because usually you're like slamming down Coronas and like, and it's just like I'm
you got
like
the shakes or anything. Let me see your hand.
Yeah, I'm like I feel like you're not as steady as you usually are. Oh, God.
I know some people that used to get wrecked. I know some people that used to get so wrecked that they're sober now. Like I know a lot of sober DJs, and I'll give it to those people because I never really noticed when they were supposedly super wrecked, but like they would tell me like stories after the fact about like, yo, like I remember that night, but I don't remember anything. I just know that I was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't remember anything that you did that night? Nope, nothing. I'm like, you played flawlessly. I will play technically fine if I'm drunk. There will be nothing wrong with what I'm doing.
Right.
the songs that I'm picking.
Yeah.
I will start dipping into like, I just want to hear like 93 to Infinity and to Lucini right now. I'm gonna make it happen. Fuck you.
Yeah. I did fucking the last New. You were there the So High New Year's Eve going into 2020. Whew. What little did we know then. But I obviously like all my peoples were there. It was fucking New Year's Eve. I got fucking wasted.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know how New Year's Eve parties are. Is like by like 1, it starts clearing out because everyone got wasted by 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember like there was a point where I just go, I'm a huge Kanye West fan.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I was like, literally my best friends here who are also Kanye West fans, and it's me. The last hour,
I already see where this is going.
Nothing, but like
the longest Kanye medley ever.
Like it was like. And obviously it was like the older stuff because I was like good Kanye. So it was just like stuff that doesn't really like, it's not really party music, but it's like
it's
great
good.
music.
It's great, but maybe not.
And I remember just being like, fuck this. I'm playing Flashing Lights 3 times in a row.
At least you waited till the end of the night.
Because I was like, everyone's fucking leaving anyway.
Yeah,
I was fucking wasted. Like, and it was one of those things where like, it was just me and my peoples and we loved it.
And at the time it was the best idea ever.
Best idea ever. We still talk about it and like.
But at the very least you waited till the end. So you weren't completely incoherent.
No, it was. I at least remember that I did it.
I love those moments when it's like you knew you were only playing for you and your friends.
Exactly. Yeah. There was the point where I just like, shut off the DJ part and was just like, "This is my."
You throw on a mixtape from like 1996 that only the 4 people that are your friends in the room will understand, and it makes no sense to anyone.
And I usually try to be good about playing to the crowd, but that part I shut it off. I was like, New Year's Eve. Little did I know. Like, going into the worst year ever.
I always think about that. Like, oh my God, I had no idea.
This time last year.
Oh, it's so triggering. I'm like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
It's because I'm like waiting for my whole life to collapse again in one day, March 15th.
Yeah, I'm getting the like the Snapchat and Instagram memories and stuff of like literally the last like at this point like 3 to 4 gigs that I had before, and I'm just like, little did I know.
It's like all these last gigs. I remember like this was about the last crowds thing I did at Foundation Room was in February. We didn't even make it. They canceled on us for March just to be safe, and they were like, you know.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, whatever. And then 2 days later, March 15th rolls around, and that
it shut everything down.
And also, I lost every gig from then until into 2021, almost into 2022, because I had weddings like drop out, and I'd never seen anything like that, obviously, in my life. And I was like, okay,
this is different.
I'm still gonna be. I don't know. I was holding on to hope like real hard, and then I just settled into
reality,
what we are, where we're at now. But that was wild. I will never forget that, and it is weird to have it come back around because it is like rather unsettling to think about this time last year, like what we were going through. Yeah, and like.
And we were all pretty like naive in a sense.
Yeah, because I didn't think this was serious. I was not taking this seriously for the first part of this. I was like, "Oh, Corona cold, flatten the curve." Like I was so naive. I thought this was, and I'm like, obviously, once I realized the severity of the situation, my tone changed 100. But wow, I went from like being everybody I think kind of felt like this isn't going to be like a thing to a year later. We're like still trying to figure out what's gonna happen next. So I'm just like, I already like got another job, so I'm like, I'm not gonna 100% rely on DJing anymore. But I can't wait to get back to it because it really is like just talking about this is like,
and that's a big reason why we're here. You know what I mean?
It's nice to commiserate with comrades.
I mean, just trying to keep industry alive and the conversation alive.
Like me and Carrie, we live down the street from each other, and we practice like.
That's awesome.
Almost once a week usually. And honestly, like those like little practice sessions have kept me like sane. Even just like when I play it like at home myself, it's awesome. But like still like just being able to like hang out with another DJ and like practice and like do things that were, I don't even know, just like hanging out and talking.
There's nerdy DJ shit.
Yeah, just it really like made a huge difference. So I hope my hope is that everybody else has that too. Cause like once I started to practice, I was like, oh, at least I have this. Like just getting back to basics. It's been kind of good, but I'm definitely like, I think we're all like we're ready.
Yeah.
Shoot me up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get vaccinated
Get
ASAP.
me. I don't care. I'll be sick for a couple days.
Is there anything coming up for you?
I have a set at the ICA. They do their brunch sessions.
That's fire. So that's on site?
No, which is even better. I can just wake up and be in my bedroom or wherever I want to shoot from. But yeah, they I believe they hosted Braun and Eveready for the last one.
Yeah. I think I saw that.
Yeah, it was tight, and they reached out to me, and I've done a bunch of work with them in the past. They're always great, and I love a brunch party. So I was like, yeah. So I believe that it's from like 11 or 12 until, honestly, I should know more about my own life, but it's been a while. So,
and that's on IG? Like, IG Live?
It's on their, I think it's on their Facebook or Instagram. I don't know. You know what? Just follow me on Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing. I will be on the Instagram of the ICA on March 14th from 11 to like 4 o'clock, and it's being sponsored by the Dalton Four Seasons.
Dope.
Which I'm like, can I go broadcast from there?
Right.
I like nice things.
11 to 4, that's a pretty...
I think it's like 11 to 4 or 12 to 4. It's brunch. And so it's at least 3 hours of me doing whatever I want.
Oh, shit, that's fire.
And, and they have like different like local restaurant, I think, sponsor it. So it's whatever that... not Zuma, but whatever. I should really know more about this. I sound like such an ass right now. Like it's
been a while.
Right? I'm rusty. I usually know all these things, but yeah, whatever. Just follow me on Instagram.
Yeah,
Leduc,
where can they find you?
Leduc 1 up, LDUKE, the number 1 up, and we can like post that or whatever. And that's where you can just find all my things. I'm not really doing much right now. I usually have so much more to talk about as far as my gigs go, but yeah, that's the only thing I have that's like a...
Don't worry, but we're all on the same boat.
Oh, soon, man.
Yeah,
One of these days it's going to get back and it's be great, and maybe we can play together, and that'll be really fun.
We got to. I mean, I'm one of the big things I want to do like when we get back out there is like focus more on like
utilize all these new friendships.
Well, yeah, I mean, but just focus kind of on the like the party that I was picking up, and and I just want to like I had my club run, and like now I'm like, I'll take a few of them here and there, but like I think I just want to focus on my thing now.
Yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
And like gotta get you on now, and
I love that journey for us then.
Yeah, it all gotta start somewhere, and through a good conversation is the best way.
This was great. I had a really good time. So
yeah, no, I really appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely, really appreciate you coming, and like this was a pretty organic, like I said, like this is the first time we ever met.
Yeah.
And when we just started chatting, it was like
we could have just been sitting in a coffee shop right now and recorded all that.
And then that's the best part of it.
It's very genuine. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I like when things aren't like super, like I appreciate organization on any level, but when it's like this type of thing, I'm way more awkward once you start giving me too much direction.
Yeah.
I'm like an improv artist. Like I have to just like
we
just
try and
let me be weird.
Yeah, we try and keep the conversation pretty casual. Like, I mean,
you do a great job.
Like organization wise, producers, shout out Dope Entertainment. They do everything on the back end to make sure everything is super organized. But like once I do the intro and stuff, I'm like,
yeah, this was great.
You know what I mean?
No silence or anything. Like
the vibes.
We were chatty. I love it.
I love it. Yeah. And so anything else you want to shout out?
Just shout out all the DJs and everybody in the industry, and just I see you and I miss all of you, and I can't wait till we get back to some sort of the new normal, and I can't wait to see everybody and, stay up.
Very well said. Yeah, as always, follow Dope Entertainment Official on Instagram. Please follow at But I Know the DJ. Follow me at Gimme Snacks, and more content on the way. It never ends, and we'll see you guys soon.